Today for you, the Royals have labored all season long against the Angels, going 0-9, and today is the final game of their season series. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White, and the Angels are trying to run the table against the Royals today in the season series. And the Angels are a good team, but I don't think that's much consolation for the Royals.
Well, that's not much consolation, but good teams do win in September, and this is what the Angels have to do if they're going to win their division. The teams are out of the race, they have to beat. I think the one reason they play well here, Ryan, is because it's a big ballpark, they got a lot of team speed.
A couple of years ago, the Baltimore Orioles went 7-0 against the Royals, but as far as series where an opponent has swept the Royals in 10 games or more, that's only happened twice. In 98, the Royals lost all 10 to the Yankees, and in 1970, all 12 to the Baltimore Orioles. And the Royals had an awful time with the Baltimore Orioles early in their career. And look at what the Angels have done against the Royals since 2004, almost a .750 winning percentage. September is also a good month for Kyle Davies.
Well, Kyle Davies has been really tinkering with his mechanics on and off per start, but he's slowly getting better. He's really just done a real good job of minimizing the damage, pitching late in the games, and really keeping the score down and giving his team a chance to win.
And the Royals are hopeful that a change in mechanics will help Kyle Davies, as it has already. They're also hoping he'll figure out Kauffman Stadium, which is a pretty good pitcher's ballpark. But Kyle has a 9.12 ERA here as opposed to 2.92 on the road, which includes a pretty good start against the Angels back on May the 10th when he gave up just one run in 6 innings. Well, you'd think the way the Royals have gone offensively in this series, they would have won at least one game. They've hit the Angels 30-24 in the first 3 games, but the Angels have won the first 3. We'll talk more about the Royals offense when we come back. 2009 F-150 at Thoroughbred Ford. So in the first three games, the Royals have out-hit the Angels 30-24. They also have one more double, one more home run, but they have scored 7 fewer runs as the Angels have won 2-1 twice and 7-2 yesterday. Trey Hillman's lineup today presented by M&I Bank. And the Royals have moved Mitch Meyer back up to the number 2 position with a right-hander starting for the Angels. Alberto Callaspo is back in the lineup after missing 2 with a sore ankle. He had an RBI triple on Friday. Brian Pena will catch again, and Josh Anderson is back out in center field. Facing right-hander Irvin Santana, here's the Kia pitching report.
Irvin Santana will continue to try to be tough on the road, but also has to fight the fact that he struggles in day games, and that might be a benefit to the Royals today if they're going to avoid a 4-game sweep.
He wants to avoid Billy Butler doing damage today, and there's David DeJesus, who's hitting over 400 against Irvin Santana, and he comes in today with a 7-game hitting streak. Final game between the Royals and the Angels. The first pitch is next. Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. So the Angels, with a 5.5 game lead over the Rangers after Texas lost yesterday. The Angels have won 3 in a row. They are going to play, or they're in the middle of, 52 games in the last 54 days. And Mike Socha's lineup brought to you by M&I Bank. Myceres Turris is back in there at second base. Bobby Abreu back out in right as Vladimir Guerrero returns to the lineup, although he's struggling, just 1 for his last 17. And Eric Ibar, who's really beaten up the Royals here in Kansas City, is to the number 8 spot. Facing Kyle Davies, and here's the Kia scouting report.
Well, Kyle's been hot lately, Ryan. Rosa won 4 of his last 5 starts, but he just got to figure out a way to pitch well here at Kauffman Stadium. And
Sean Figgins leads off. Figgins is hitless in this series, but he's still played a big role. He has scored 3 runs. He leads the American League in runs scored. And he's been very good again on defense. Figgins, one of 4 switch hitters in there today for the Angels.
I talked to him a little bit before the game, Ryan, about the play yesterday, and he said the trouble he's having at third base, he has to go to a bigger glove. And sometimes he has trouble in the exchange of getting the ball out. And so he said he was real apologetic to Kendrick yesterday for that throw he gave him, because he just said, playing in the middle of the infield, the gloves are smaller, I can get rid of the ball, but at third I'm just trying to swat it down and do the best job I can over there.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Well, things are going well when you're apologizing when you still make the play.
Well, as a second baseman, you just don't want to get hung out to dry. You want that first grab to be a good one, and you want that throw to be right there so you can get the throw off and get out of the way. But when every time they have to double clutch, it keeps you there longer and gives the base runner a chance to get closer to you.
And now you have to worry about Figgins and his 39 stolen bases. Started on time at 1:10. Beautiful day. And the sun's trying to burn away the overcast. 73 degrees. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. And a strike on Myceris Turris. So we'll see how the Angels go at it in the first inning with Figgins at first base. Is Turris, who's a good bunter and would be a good hit and run candidate. And Figgins is running, and the hit and run is on. And 2 perfection through the left side, first and third, nobody out.
You know, the one thing when you play up the middle, you want to be close enough that you don't have to leave when the base runner breaks. So when the base runner breaks, you see where Betancourt broke the same time the base runner broke. So you want to get close enough that you can let him go ahead and break the second base, and you can let that ball get in the hitting zone. Even if you got to be close to the base, you just want to be stationary when the ball is hit.
And now Bobby Abreu, who drove in 3 runs yesterday, giving him 89 on the year. And Davies jumps ahead with strike 1.
I think the one thing you do know on every team that you play, you know who the potential hit and run guys are on that team. So to me, you give up a little bit of defense in between third and short and first and second just to crowd the middle, because you don't want to be on the move when the ball is hit. And if you're so far away that you have to break when the base runner breaks, then that means you're too far away from the base.
Again, the center fielder is over towards left center field. Abreu hit one to right center yesterday, driving in a couple of runs. In fact, both of his hits yesterday were to the right side, but in the outfield, the Royals play him the other way.
Well, the only thing that hurt the Royals is if the pitcher misses his spots. And if you're going to play around the left like they do in center field here, now you got to pitch away. You got to make sure he hits the ball into your defense. You slow the ball down, then you're hitting against your defense.
And he pulls it to Butler. Billy's going to come to the plate. So rather than try and get 2 outs, the Royals cut down Figgins at home. Is that the right play?
It's not the play I would want to see happen right there. When you get a chance to get 2 outs, you want to get the 2 outs. That was an easy double play ball for Butler, but he opted to come home and get Figgins at the plate. So it's still first and second, 1 out with a chance to have a big inning. You can kind of see Kyle Davis going over to cover first, and he's expecting Billy to go to second base, and he almost gets hit with the ball going to home.
So it's first and second, 1 out for Vladimir Guerrero. He drove in both runs on Friday in the Angels' 2-1 win. But that's his only hit of the series, and he's just 1 for his last 17.
Well, Billy gets his ball quickly. I mean, he's got this ball on 1 hop, and Abreu hasn't even left home plate yet. So if he spins and goes to second base and gets a double play, now that there's 2 outs, with one run in. But now you got first and second, and he still got a chance for a big inning.
But Guerrero pops it up. They call the infield fly rule, and Butler makes the play on Guerrero. So 2 down for Davies, and let's welcome in Joel Goldberg.
Guys had a chance to talk to some of the Angels, and they'll be heading back home after this series. When you play on the West Coast, you might think, well, you get that beautiful Southern California sunshine, but you also get a lot of travel. Figure one of the 4 teams in that division is in the Central Time Zone in Texas. Looking at their schedule, guys, 13 times by the end of the year they will have traveled across 2 time zones. 7 times they will have traveled across 3 time zones. The Royals total for the year, 4 traveling across 2 time zones. It's sometimes nice to be in the Midwest. Was talking to Torrey Hunter about that, and he said, you know, Mike Scioscia would arrest me every now and then starting last year and this year, and I didn't understand why. Now, with the toll that travel takes on me, I get it, guys.
And he's getting a little older, where those days off help, especially when you get into September. And we talked yesterday about the grind that the Angels are going through right now. They had an off day here on Thursday. They had played in 20 straight, and now they're starting another stretch of 20 straight games. By the way, when I got here this morning, and I got here a little bit after Joel, because Joel's usually the first one here and the last one to leave, but Joel was out signing autographs on his way into the stadium, and so everyone that's listening today, and we hope you come out for the last couple homestands, remember, Joel is available to sign autographs both before and after the games.
Wait, you have to meet him at the front door.
Yeah.
Well, Frank wasn't there yet, and they said, where's that other announcer guy? They said, well, I guess you'll do. That's all that's left.
No, Joel, you got your own followers, big guy.
These are all the fans that were here too late for Joel, so they'll settle for Joakim Soria.
I think they made out okay.
Just missed. Kyle Davies started to walk off the mound. He thought that was strike 3.
Well, you talk about hitting the mitt, and there he was, just a little up, but back over the plate. That looked like a pretty good pitch from him.
So as Turris at second, Abreu at first, will be on the move with this next pitch to Torrey Hunter. And he takes ball 4. So they're loaded up for Kendry Morales. 2 walks in the first inning for Davies. Well, as a Royal, Kyle Davies has had his problems in the first inning. 2 starts ago in Seattle, he had a scoreless first, and then he gave up a solo home run on Tuesday at Oakland. But that was the only run he would give up. Solid the rest of the way, and the bullpen able to hang on, and the Royals winning at Oakland 4-3. Morales takes a fastball right in there. Morales having a great year. The Royals haven't seen any glimpses of that, at least in this series, which is 3 hits. He has not driven in a run, but he does have 94 RBIs for the season. And a changeup is off the plate, right back to Kyle, and almost threw it away. But he gets out of it, and the Angels leave the bases loaded in the first inning. Santana. Royals face Santana here at Kauffman Stadium back on July the 21st. He did not pitch well. Gave up 5 runs in 6 innings, but the Angels scoring late, as they've done all year against the Royals, and they won that game 8-5. Santana has spent a couple of times on the disabled list this year, including beginning the year with the right elbow problem, and then later in the season with his triceps inflamed. David DeJesus with a 7-game hitting streak. Four out of 14 in the first 3 games of the series with a run scored. And he lost the bat over towards the Royals' bat boys, so very convenient that the bat boy brings the bat back to DeJesus. I mean, because if that bat ends up in the stands or somewhere else, who's going to bring him the next bat?
The bat boy.
The bat boy.
Be like in Oakland where he's so far away, the bat boy takes 2 bats. He gives the hitter one, he keeps one in the on-deck circle.
Well, you know, they're always looking for ways to speed up the game, and that just saved us about 4 seconds.
Must be Monday.
2-2. Look at this. Sorry, Frank. 120-point difference. Lefties and righties against Santana. And Trey Hillman, with that in mind, only has 2 right-hand batters in the lineup today, Billy Butler and Yuniesky Betancourt. So he's really stacked the lefties against Santana. The count has gone from 0-2 to 3-2 on DeJesus.
Now, when you think about it, if the opposite side hits well against you, that's probably the way it should be. You don't want the right-handers hitting that high.
For once, Sean Figgins does not make the play, and the Royals have the leadoff man on. It's a base hit for DeJesus, and now an 8-game hitting streak.
When Davis stays on the ball, he can really sting it. Now, this ball had some good bite to it. And you don't see many balls get by him at third base. You can see how big that glove is he was talking about. It's almost like he got an outfielder's glove playing third base.
Now, the stat sheet says Figgins has 12 errors, but I think that's got to be a misprint. Back to Santana, and he throws it into center field. So the Royals have runners at first and third and nobody out. That'll be a fielder's choice and an error on Santana.
We've seen this a lot this year. Balls back to the pitcher, trying to get a good throw to second base for the double play. And we've seen exactly the same thing happen throughout the season. Where pitchers, when they realize that they're not supposed to throw for the guy that's covering the bag, they're supposed to throw for the bag. And they're trying to hit a fielder on a run. That's difficult for those guys. But if he throws right to the base, they won't make that mistake.
Very similar to the throw that John Bale made in Oakland, where it wasn't a real good, firm follow-through throw. He almost kind of short-armed the ball towards second base.
It's a pretty difficult play because you got so much green behind you and there's so much open space behind you. So that's why they say don't try to hit the field on the run. Just throw right for the base, and they'll be there. If they're not there, it's their fault.
2 years ago, Billy Butler hit his first major league home run against Irvin Santana. That was in Anaheim. He is just 2 out of 12 against Santana, but both of those hits are home runs. Now, earlier in his big league career, Santana had difficulty holding it together when things didn't go his way. If he didn't get the call or he didn't get a play, and you could really see it in his body language. Got a pretty good call there, and it's 2-1 on Butler.
Well, Jake seems to have a pretty tight zone right now, Ryan, and I can see where he's thrown some pitches close that he would want, and this would be one that I would think be a little low, but the way that the ball is received by Mathis, it gives the appearance that the ball is knee high. If you turn your glove over, then that lets the umpire know the ball is low.
Oh, man. Billy'd like to have that pitch back. He was right on it. Just didn't make solid contact. 2-2.
That's when you really see your pitch and you really try to. He feel like he almost tried to pull that ball a little too much and kind of really pulled himself off of that pitch. A ball that he normally would just drive straight to right center field.
Now Billy strikes out. So Santana comes back from 2-0. And it's first and third, one away. Here's the defense behind Santana today. Same outfield of Rivera, Hunter, and Abreu all series. Biggins and Ibar on the left side is Turris Morales over on the right side. And Jeff Mathis behind the plate. The Angels have alternated Mike Napoli and Jeff Mathis for the 4 games.
Well, I really think Michigan still is based on Santana if he wanted to, but with Jacobs up, Trey Hillman may opt to leave the hole open there at first base.
Jacobs has grounded into 7 double plays this year. He is more of a fly ball hitter than a ground ball hitter. Mitch not going anywhere, and the slider is down and in. 4 hits and 9 at-bats for Jacobs in this series, a run scored. This is his first at-bat against Santana. DeJesus opened with a single. Meyer reached on an error on what could have been a double play ground ball. And if you're to judge Mitch by his posture, it looks like he wants to go to second base, leaning that way, not running. And it's pulled through the hole. Royals lead 1-0, and Meyer will go to third.
We talked about the hole over there, and it's just always available to a guy like Jake. He really gets tied up a little bit with this. He didn't really get extended through this, was able to get it in a good spot just past Morales' glove at first base, and Mitch was able to go first and third, and Mike Jacobs gets an RBI.
50th RBI of the season for Jacobs. And now the same situation for Alberto Callaspo. Alberto driving in the lone Royals run on Friday with an RBI triple. And then out the last couple of games, fouled a ball off of his ankle. That was sore. And yesterday, Luis Hernandez, who was just called up from AAA Omaha, played at second base. Two and 0. Alberto coming up through the Angels system, traded to Arizona for Jason Bolger, who we saw yesterday, and then coming to the Royals for right-hander Billy Buckner. Goes with a slider on 2-0. 2 balls, 1 strike. Alberto has rolled into 15 double plays this year. That's one of those stats where, you know, you can look down at a hitter who's hit into a lot of double plays, but that's also a sign of a hitter who really does a good job of getting on top of the ball.
He really hits the ball well, and he doesn't have a lot of power, so he's going to hit line drive ground balls, but, you know, he's also a guy that you could possibly help a little bit if you would maybe put a few more hit and runs on, things like that.
Grounds it through the right side. So just like Jacobs, a single to right drives in a run, and the Royals lead 2-0.
This is a two-seamer that just didn't quite get far enough away from Caspo. He's able to get that top hand over and get that ball in the right field. The left-handed average continues to go up for Santana.
Just got a visit from pitching coach Mike Butcher. So the error is big, committed by Santana. Still only one out, and now another left-hand batter. And Martin fouls it away. An aggressive swing at the first pitch. Just to add to the point about, guys who hit into a lot of double plays doesn't mean that they're a bad player. I mean, here are some of the league leaders: Evan Longoria, Mike Lowell, Orlando Cabrera, Billy Butler, Miguel Cabrera, Michael Kadire, Dustin Pedroia are among the league leaders, and a lot of times it's just a guy who will get on top of the ball, and also you have to hit the ball hard most of the time to have enough time to turn a double play.
And some of those guys you wouldn't ask to hit and run anyway. Some of the bigger guys. Pedroia is probably not a good hit and run guy. With Miguel Cabrera, also Longoria would be another guy. But Orlando Cabrera, you could see him being more of a hit and run kind of guy, and he can stay out of some double plays. Caspo, you could probably cut his down a little bit too.
Hot shot to Morales, out at second base. No play at first.
No play at first because Santana didn't get there, Ryan. He didn't get off the mound. Anytime the ball is hit to the right side, they got to go right away. He just kind of stood there and watched the play. And then they decided he'd better go, but it was too late at that time. If he gets there, there's a throw. You don't know if he gets Martin or not, but at least there's a return throw to first base.
So we've seen 2 errors in this inning by Santana, only charged with 1 in the stats. But a physical error on the throw into center field, and now a mental error. And the Royals still breathing in the first inning, 2 runners home, and now Brian Pena is the 7th Royal to come up.
Well, the physical errors you can always go through and figure out what's going on there, but when the mental errors start to pop up, then you always have some concern of whether or not this situation is really getting the best of it.
Brian 1 for 6 in the series with an RBI. Oh, and 2. Brian starting behind the plate in consecutive games. Yesterday, Pena was the catcher and Miguel Olivo was the DH. Did he go? No. Jacobs has driven in a run, getting De Jesus to the plate. Caspo has driven in a run. Tien's over at first. And the big play in this inning so far, with De Jesus at first, Mitch Meyer hitting a ground ball back to Santana, and he threw it into center field. Again, Pena lays off the slider, and it's 2-2. So twice the Angels have had a chance to turn a double play, and in their first opportunity they didn't get 1 out at all, and then in their second opportunity they only got 1 out. So if you like to count double plays, the Angels have given the Royals about 5 outs in this inning.
And Santana is having to pay for it by throwing a lot more pitches.
Broke his bat, eyebar the play, and that's the inning. Mike Jacobs driving in David DeJesus with a ground ball through the right side, and Callaspo doing the same thing. .com and by AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. So the Royals getting a couple of runs in the bottom of the first, thanks to the Angels not turning a couple of double plays. And the irony to that is that for the second time in this series, yesterday the Royals out-hit the Angels, but couldn't get the big hit, and the Angels turned 4 double plays yesterday. And they're 0 for 2 today. Juan Rivera, Eric Ibar, and Jeff Mathis coming up here in the second inning. Kyle Davies gave up a couple of walks and a single, and the Angels ended up leaving the bases loaded when Kendry Morales grounded back to Davies. Rivera just 1 for 12 in the series. And he's down, no balls, 2 strikes. Not bad when your number 7 hitter has hit 21 home runs, 76 RBIs. Rivera is originally from the Yankee organization. The Angels got him from the Washington Nationals along with Myceris Turris for Jose Guillen. Two balls, 2 strikes. Rivera's had some freak injuries in his career. A few years ago, he was in winter ball. He broke his leg. He collided with Corey Bailey, who used to pitch for the Royals. He was supposed to start in 2007, but because of the broken leg, he missed a big chunk of the 2007 season. And then he had a freak injury back in 2002 when he's with the Yankees. He fractured his kneecap when he was shagging in the outfield. He ran into a golf cart, which, you know, that could happen to anybody.
A golf cart in the middle of the outfield.
Deep short, Betancourt. One hop throw and got him at first. Outstanding play by Yuniesky Betancourt.
Well, this is an outstanding play, Ryan. I mean, this is like taking your time, making sure you get the exchange, let that right foot come down, and then to get a strong throw off to first base. And that was easy. I mean, it always takes the right batter to make great plays. You know that, right?
So you're saying Sean Figgins might be safe on that play? Kyle Davies certainly appreciates it.
Oh my goodness! I mean, the one thing that Yunieski's done since he's been here, I mean, he's made all the plays. I mean, they hasn't had one play that you can look at and say, well, that's a real difficult play for him. He's made all the plays.
He doesn't quite have the range as the man who's standing at the plate right now, Eric Ibar, but I can't think of a play to his right or left where you shake your head and go, man, he should make that play. And
if I had to guess which way he's better, I'd say he's probably better to his right than to his left up the middle. You know, he does a good job coming across the bag, falls behind the mound, but look how deep he is at shortstop on this play. And then the arm strength, there's never been a question about the arm strength.
Well, let's test him the other way, and it's right under his glove. Don't think he would have gotten Ibar. And it's ruled a base hit. I'm not sure if it's ruled a base hit because the official scorer thought it was a difficult play reaching, or he realized that even if he does catch it, Ibar is still safe.
Well, here, you know, you got a fast runner, and you want to be quick, and you might want to look up too fast, but just didn't really follow the ball into the glove. But that would be the only really the only way I'd say we have a little more difficulty, because at that point you're trying to figure out how you want to angle your body. I've seen him go to his left where he wants to try to catch and spin at the same time and pop up and throw. So that, to me, that's where I see the difficulty right there. And if you ask him, he would say, well, okay, I might not have had him at first base, but I should have caught the ball.
And Mathis showing bunt and takes a strike. Mathis at the plate with a .212 batting average, which is kind of the ugly duckling average of this bunch. The first 8 hitters bat .303, .297, .297, .293, .307, .312, .299, and .306. So that's 8 of 9 hitters that are hitting .293 or higher. Pitching out, Ibar not going anywhere, 1-1. But if you're going to be a catcher hitting .212, this is the guy you want to play for, because Mike Scioscia, even though he was a good hitter for the Dodgers, not a great hitter, but a good hitter, he was definitely one of those receivers first, catcher, or rather hitter second.
Right, I agree with that, and it really would help a guy like Mathis to develop too as a game caller, as blocking balls, and Mike Scioscia, you won't find another catcher that was as tough as he was as far as when it came to blocking home plate.
Mike Scioscia had a great line once about the role of the catcher. He says the pitcher is the horse and the catcher is the jockey. And he never really got caught up in the catcher's numbers at the plate, because in Mike Scioscia's mind, the 120 to 150 pitches that he calls every night is much more important than the 3 or 4 swings he might have at the plate.
And that, I think pitchers appreciate that too. If you can save them wild pitches, if you can save them runners by blocking the plate, and if you can help them get through tough innings, you know, that gives them a lot more confidence on the mound.
2-2 on Mathis. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Tour of Missouri cycling race kicks off today in St. Louis and will race through Missouri towards Kansas City. Fox Sports Kansas City will have highlights and results tonight and every night of the race on the Tour of Missouri Highlight Show. And you can catch the show tonight at 10:30 on Fox Sports Kansas City. Got him with a breaking ball down and away. And Ibar will move up to second base. That ball bounced away from Pena and almost halfway to the pitcher's mound.
Well, Cal's got a couple different curveballs, and the one that he wants to strike you out with is that knuckle curve. That's the one that really stays tight and goes down almost like a hard slide, only it goes 12-6. And Mathis couldn't lay off of it. And catchers, you know, they got to be ready to block that ball. They call it, they got to be ready to block it.
So Ibar at second on the wild pitch. And the batter is Sean Figgins, who opened the game with a walk, followed by a single from Myceris Turris, which put runners at first and third and nobody out, but Davies got out of it. To Betancourt. So Betancourt finishes off the inning with an out. He began the inning with this great play against Juan Rivera. Kyle Davies throws a scoreless second inning. Betancourt, who made a nice play on a Juan Rivera ground ball in that second inning, takes ball one from Irvin Santana. Into left field, Rivera flips down the shades and makes the catch. Here's today's You Call It, presented by Sprint. And with the Angels 9-0 against the Royals this year, who individually has hurt the Royals the most? Bobby Abreu, Eric Ibar, Sean Figgins, or Torrey Hunter? Text 432-432. The keyword is Royals, a space, and then A, B, C, or D. Standard text rates apply. What do you think?
That's an easy one for me. I'd say B, Ibar.
I can't disagree with the numbers, and especially what Ibar has done against the Royals here. Just for argument's sake, I'm going to pick Sean Figgins for what he's done on defense as well, but it's tough to vote against that. 548 against the Royals. Figgins has been outstanding on defense. He doesn't have a lot of hits against the Royals this year, but been driving in runs, sack flies, sack bunt on a safety squeeze back in Anaheim. He scored 3 runs in this series. Anderson 0 for 7 in the 2 games he's played in, and he gets a slow roller off of Santana's glove, and that's just enough for an infield single.
Well, anytime you got the speed of a Josh Anderson, anything that stops the ball and leaves it out in no man's land, he's going to beat this out. And Santana really hadn't done a lot to help himself defensively so far in this ball game. Like he got in on his hands, and it wasn't really hit that hard, but he just couldn't get it in his glove.
And now Anderson with 17 stolen bases at first, with David DeJesus up there. And the Angels are thinking that Anderson might take off. In reference to You Call It, and here's what Bobby Abreu has done against the Royals. 11 walks. He's driven in 6. 3 of those RBIs yesterday. Well, the Royals got 2 in the first inning. Both RBIs coming on ground balls through the right side. And we showed you all the trouble that Santana's had this year against left-hand hitting. And now David has a hole on the right side with Morales holding Josh Anderson. Timeout had been called, and Anderson was running. Fans are cheering. They think there was some sort of a balk / stolen base. Anderson getting to second, but he needs to go back. No pitch.
Well, you kind of gave up what you were going to do right there. I think David just got tired of waiting, and David, I don't know if he looks at the signs between it. He should know if the guy's running or not. So if he's not running, if he's running, then you really don't have to worry about calling timeout.
Another base hit through the right side. Anderson will hold. Well, first and second, 1 out.
Santana keeps trying to throw that little two-seamer that runs, but it's just not getting much run at all. It's just staying right out in the middle of the plate, and the guys have been able to tee off on it and pull it. Well, I'm sure he probably really have them roll over and hit routine ground balls to second base, but they're just getting too much of the plate.
And now Mitch Meyer, he had perhaps the key plate appearance in the Royals' 2-run first inning. DeJesus reaching with a single. Meyer hit a one-hopper back to Santana. It looked like a pretty easy double play, and Santana threw it into center. And then Mitch coming around to score, as did DeJesus. Santana coming off an outstanding year last year. He was second in the American League in strikeouts. Only A.J. Burnett, who was pitching for the Blue Jays, had more. Just off the right field side, 0-2. Santana got off to a very good start last year. He was 6-0. Along with his teammate Joe Saunders, who pitched yesterday. They were both 6-0. And after his 2008 season, Ervin Santana got himself a 4-year contract extension, but began this year on the disabled list. And that was the first of 2 trips to the DL this year. One and two. In his first 13 starts this season, Ervin Santana's ERA was 7.31. That's his second strikeout today. 2 down in the second.
Well, we talked about Santana not really doing a lot to help himself defensively. When you go back on this play here. This is that 1-6-3 DP. He threw the ball in the center field. And here he failed to cover first base on a potential 3-6-3 double play that would have got him out of the inning. And here he failed to handle a soft ground ball back up the middle by Anderson.
Two on for Billy Butler. He struck out in the first inning. Well, he's not pitching great, but this is certainly a more mature Irvin Santana. A couple of years ago, with the circumstances in the first two innings today, that was enough to get him all unglued, and perhaps the Royals would have scored 4 or 5 because he had a tough time holding it together when things didn't quite go his way.
Well, you know, the one thing about what's going on with him right now is that he's been in the middle of most of it, and it's not the defensive guys behind you that aren't making the plays. He's had an opportunity to help himself more than the defense, and it just hasn't done it. So sometimes it's, you know, you don't blame yourself quite as hard sometimes if you blame somebody else for messing up.
If a pitcher commits an error, it's still an unearned run, but that's been up for debate. I mean, he's hurting himself. If he commits the error, do you think that should be an earned run or an unearned run?
I think when the pitcher does it, it should be an earned run.
I agree. Now, pitchers, in their defense, will say, when I throw the ball, I'm a pitcher. After that, I'm a defender. And so that's how they try and keep their ERA down. But, you know, if it's an individual statistic and they make the error.
And you also have to go by the quality of the play he's trying to make. If it's a high hopper back through the mound and hits in his glove and bounces out, then that's usually a base hit. So just take the ball that Anderson hit. It's not hit very hard. He just doesn't make the play, but that's a base hit. So it's a catch-22, you know. But Zach will probably just suck those up. He's like a vacuum cleaner when he's on the mound.
Now Billy takes a walk, and they're loaded up with 2 outs. Hey, don't forget, Inc. College Nights offer $7 lower level seats every Wednesday to high school and college students when a valid student ID is presented at the box office. The next one is this Wednesday night with the Tigers in town, and it also features a happy hour with concession specials and the outfield experience. So Anderson at third, DeJesus at second, Butler at first, and now Mike Jacobs, who drove in his 50th run of the year in the first inning. Nice stop by Mathis. Royals have 5 hits against Santana, and all 5 of the hits coming from left-hand batters who hit .353 against Santana, and 3 of the 5 have been ground balls through the right side. 2 balls, no strikes, and Mathis immediately sprints out to the mound. And out comes his pitching coach, Mike Butcher, who originally is from the Royals organization. Talking to Mike Butcher about a tryout that he had here at Kauffman Stadium when the Royals signed him. That was back when they had the turf, and his biggest memory of that tryout was he was just kind of standing around enjoying the experience and got rid of a piece of gum and just kind of threw it on the turf. Close enough for George Toma to see it. And the memory that comes to mind from that day is being bawled out by George Toma because he threw his gum on the turf.
Well, there's 2 things that George hated was gum and tobacco. Those are 2 of the toughest products to get out of the field. So he would really go off if you see somebody spit tobacco on the field, and the gum was even tougher. He'd have to have that little freeze bottle and freeze it and scrape it, and he just didn't like that at all.
Now it's 3-1 to Jacobs. Well, if you're thinking grand slam, and the Royals would love that, it's been a while since a number 4 hitter has homered for the Royals. Now, Jacobs has 17, but some of his more recent home runs have been in another spot other than the cleanup spot. You have to go back to June the 10th, so almost 3 months ago. Full count. That was game number 58. And for the Royals today, this is game number 137. That was Jose Guillen against the Indians. That was at Cleveland.
Was that the night the same guy caught 2 balls, 2 home run balls in left field? Same spot.
You know, I don't remember, but I remember that. Joel went out to talk to him. Anderson with an infield single. DeJesus single to right. Butler walked. Shallow left. Ibar out there quickly. Look out. And Rivera comes in and makes a basket catch. The Royals strand 3 in the second inning. Well, the conversation between Mike Butcher and Irvin Santana continues in the dugout. And again, that's a more mature, a wiser Irvin Santana who, at this point in his career, probably realizes the big picture. He's only down by 2 runs, even though he hasn't pitched the way he's wanted, and can kind of smile it off as opposed to melting down, as we've seen him here at Kauffman Stadium when a play hasn't been made on defense or he hasn't gotten a call from the home plate umpire.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what Mike Butcher's talking about. Is just, hey, look, things haven't looked that great on the field, but you guys, you're still in this ball game, so you need to get it together and go out there and pitch your game. And I mean, just from the simple fact that he had him smiling in the dugout, it means that he was probably getting through.
Today's Roadrunner Turbo Speed Pitch comparison from the first 2 innings. Kyle Davies at 94. Santana's hit 98. That's foul off the left field line. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Still 1-2 is Turris with a ground ball base hit into left field. in the first inning with Sean Figgins, the runner at first and running, and a perfectly executed hit and run. That put runners at first and third, nobody out. Kyle Davies got out of the inning. Now, Frank and I agreed that on a ground ball to Billy Butler that perhaps the play was to go to second and try for a double play, but Billy decided to come to the plate and only get one out. And in retrospect now, that wasn't a bad decision as the Angels didn't score at all. As Torres is out number one in the third inning. But at some point, I think the Royals want Billy Butler to have the kind of confidence that when he gets that ground ball, he just goes down to second base immediately and they turn the double play.
Yeah, I think managers would rather see the double play in the first inning and give up the one run and you have the bases clean trying to get that third out. But by not going that, the Angels ended up with the bases loaded in that situation with a chance to really break the game open.
And a 94 RBI man at the plate. And Kendry Morales, but Kyle Davies got him on a ground ball back to the mound. Bobby Abreu reached on the ground ball to Billy Butler when he went to the plate to get Figgins. Now, it's late in the year. This is game number 137, and this is that time of year where it doesn't matter how much you sleep, what you eat, how much you work out. I mean, you're just going to be worn down. And I'm not sure, did I imagine this or did I just see a gorilla?
You saw one.
I did? Okay.
I was talking to Figgins and Matthews about that before the game, and they both.
The gorilla?
No.
Oh, okay.
About wearing down. And they were asking me, so there's your gorilla right there.
I mean, you know, it's one of those things. Did I see that or did I imagine that? Because it is that time of year.
And it's not August when it's 95. It's got a good date for it. But they were asking me things about, you know, late in the year, did you alter your program? Did you go to a lighter bat, that type of thing? And they both said that they've altered their program just so they could be stronger. And I said, well, the reason you alter your program is because, you know, it's been a long year, and you want that third and fourth at bat when you're facing that reliever coming out of the bullpen throwing 95 miles an hour to feel like your first at bat. So you have to know how many ground balls you need for the game and how many swings you need in the cage. And Matthews was saying, well, he takes one group off, and Figgins, he goes through the how well am I hitting the ball. If he hits the ball, hit the line drives, then he feel like, okay, I can stop. So you really want to cut back your number of swings and number of ground balls this time of the year. Now it gets to being staying off your feet, eating properly, just get enough rest, and then go into the ball game.
Do you think it takes a certain measure of success for a player to have the confidence to say, okay, I'm not going to put in as much time today in practice, I'm going to save it for the game?
Well, I think the word you said, confidence. I mean, that's this game's all about confidence and what you need to go into the ball game. And I just told him basically, I just got to that point where, you know, it was more about saving more for the game than doing so much in pregame, because I would take what I didn't do well that night before, I would go out and work on that part of it to make sure that I got that covered. Then I would take a few more ground balls, turn a few double plays, and because you can't do it at this point in the year, then you know something's wrong. If you still need the same amount of ground balls in August and September that you needed in April and May, then something's wrong.
Kyle Davies walks his third today, and Bobby Abreu walks for the seventh time in this series. And 1-on-1 out for Vladimir Guerrero. Now, this might be a stretch, Frank, but as you were talking, what came to mind for me is a number that we've been talking about all series. From the seventh inning on this year, between the Royals and the Angels have outscored the Royals 23-0. Now, there's a mental component to that. You know, good veteran teams know how to relax in the later innings, and maybe the younger guys are more amped up. But as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, how much more energy do the Angels still have in the seventh inning compared to the Royals? As Billy makes a play in foul territory, and Vladimir Guerrero, the second time he's popped out to Butler, and now he's 1 for his last 19.
I mean, I think that's something you need to look at. I think that in talking to those two guys, Figgins and Matthews, they also say that they don't take batting practice on day games. You know, it's up to the players what they want to do on day games, but they don't have an official batting practice. So they go in and do their whatever routines they have on the tee, as far as soft toss. They may want to go in the cage and take a few swings, but it's not a full-fledged batting practice. So going back to what Torrey Hunter was saying, the way they travel, you have to really monitor your body pretty closely.
Because you can't fault the effort. I mean, there are some guys that the Royals have that are just working all the time, and especially on their swing.
Well, you figure if you go into your batting practice with your routine of maybe you go so many swings off the tee, so many swings in soft toss, then you go right into your batting practice. Then after your batting practice, some guys go back and swing some more, and then during the course of the game, they can actually go back in there and continue to swing throughout the game. So what you want to do is be strong enough in that third, fourth at bat, which usually comes in the middle to late innings. And when that reliever's coming out there throwing 96 miles an hour, you want to be able to feel like you can catch up with him and do some damage.
Don't want to leave your best swings in the batting cage.
And that happens a lot because the more swings you take, the worse you get. I don't care how good a hitter you are. At some point, fatigue starts to take over, and you just got to be able to recognize what you need. I mean, you get to your first round, it's like 7 swings, and then you go to maybe another round of 7. And so you're going to get about 20 swings that you can utilize and be good swings. And that should take you into the ball game with no problem at all, especially this time of year.
Three and one on Torrey Hunter, who has already walked today. That was in the first inning.
Sometimes you look at when we played, it was so simple. You didn't have batting cages. So if you had rain delays, that was it. You just had to go out on the field, play a little pepper, just to see the ball, move it around a little bit.
Abreu running, and Betancourt will go to first, and the inning is over. So 3 scoreless innings for Kyle Davies. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. An organization that provides independent living for 115 adults with developmental disabilities while also serving 500 youth and adults through service programs. He's from Gladstone, Missouri, and he's been with the organization for more than 30 years. And Carl is enjoying today's game from the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat. Alberto Callaspo singling home a run in the Royals' 2-run first. That was to right. Now he grounds it to the left side and thrown out by Eric Ibar. This Saturday, 2 Big 12 football teams from our Royals viewing area will play on pay-per-view. Nebraska plays Arkansas State, and Mizzou plays Bowling Green. Access your digital program guide or call your local cable, satellite, or fiber optic provider to order. 0-1 to Mark Teahan, reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. another ground ball that Ibar cuts off up the middle. So Santana, who has struggled through 2 innings, and I'm sure feels lucky right now to have only allowed 2 runs, now working on his first 3 up, 3 down inning. And here's Brian Pena, who popped out to short in the first. Two balls, no strikes. To his Turris. And Santana has his easiest inning. That's only 8 pitches, 3 ground ball outs. That's 2-0. Today's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Yankees have a 7.5 game lead in the East over Boston. Tigers now with a 7-game advantage in the Central. That's over Minnesota. The Angels in front of the Rangers, and the Red Sox with a 3-game lead in the wild card, and that is also against the Rangers. One and one on Kendry Morales, who is Kyle Davies' biggest out so far today. Morales with 94 RBIs, batted with the bases loaded and 2 out in the first, but Kyle got him on a ground ball back to the mound, and that pitch was in on his hands to make it 1 ball, 2 strikes. That pitch stayed up, and it's drilled into deep right center field, and it hit the top of the wall and comes back. It is not a home run. Morales is into second base. Mike Scioscia is at the top step of the dugout, and he is talking to his bench coach, Ron Renicky, and reminding each other of the ground rules at brand new Kauffman Stadium and trying to decide whether they should go out and argue.
Well, this is a changeup that stayed up in the zone big time, and Morales got that long swing, and that pitch was just perfect for him. So we're going to see where this ball hits. It's right above the padding. Then it hits that short fence and kicks back.
So the right call. The railing behind it is considered a home run, and there really isn't a whole lot of distance between that short fence and the railing for the fans. And If a ball is hit hard out there and comes back out, it's difficult for the umpire to sprint out and get a really good long look at that.
Well, that's true. You almost need a solid wall for that ball to hit against. Or else you need that yellow, that big heavy yellow line that they put across the padding, and that say above the line is a home run. That's a good marker for him also.
39th double for Morales.
So it's safe to say here the ball has to disappear.
Rivera pulling the ball with a runner at second base. And Betancourt to the railing. That was over the railing. That's what Phil Cuzzy is pointing to. I think that went off of a fan's hand or a glove, but since it's on the other side of the railing, no fan interference.
Well, he definitely had a chance to catch it, but when the ball leaves the playing field, it's free for the fans to try to catch it they like. It looks like he's got a good gauge on it.
Did he just punch his girlfriend in the shoulder?
I think she was hiding. She was covered up.
Now to right field. Meyer getting behind it. Morales tagging. On his way to third. Here comes the throw. On target. Out at third base. Excellent throw by Mitch Meyer.
Well, I think Mitch does. He gets in good position to throw this ball. He really gets himself really squared up. And this is perfect. Betancourt sees this ball on line. He just lets it go. One hop right to 10 at third base. So the only way the outfielder is able to make this play perfectly, he's got to get behind the ball, and Mitch does a good job of that.
That slide, as Meyer picks up his 11th assist. That slide, anytime a guy does that, forever will remind me of Willie Stargell, who was out by a mile at second base, slid like that, coming up short of the tag, and then tried to call timeout. You seen that highlight? 2-0 on Eric Ibar. Three balls, no strikes. Ibar with an infield single in the second inning. So he is hitting well over 500 against the Royals this year. Four-pitch walk, and that's 4 walks for Davies. Joe Goldberg.
Well, guys, Eric Ibar has just absolutely destroyed the Royals this year, including his hit in the second inning. He's batting .562 against them. I asked Mike Scioscia today about if it's just a matter of playing time. He's got career high in games and at-bats, and he said, no, it's not playing time. It's staying healthy. Started off well last year, had 2 DL stints in May and June with a dislocated finger, couple DL stints in 2007 as well, but he said right now he is showing he's got the talent to be very good when he's healthy and playing every single day. Complete game on offense. He's a real force. Very good on defense. He said he was always tagged as a guy that will be a premium player at shortstop. He says right now he's playing the position better than anybody in the American League, guys.
Well, Joey's one of the subjects of our sprint, you call it, although the fans are going with Torrey Hunter, and maybe that's because of history, and Torrey Hunter's always done well against the Royals. Back to his days with Minnesota, he had that game-saving catch against the Royals back in May the 10th. That was a game started by Kyle Davies. And Davies had a chance to win it, but a blown save by the bullpen. Miguel Olivo almost tied the game with a home run in the top of the 9th inning, but Torrey Hunter going way up over the wall to bring it back in. Ibar, if the circumstances present themselves, and the Angels don't want to see this happen, he might lead off for the Angels next year. Sean Figgins is a free agent at the end of this year, and the Angels would love to have him back. But there are a lot of other teams who would like to have Sean Figgins. So if he's gone, who knows? It could be Ibar leading off. 4 scoreless innings for Kyle Davies. For Kyle Davies, only 1 strikeout. That was against Jeff Mathis back in the second. Our Arby's pitch by pitch.
But Kyle really, Ryan, just going back to his last start, had just been mixing his pitches up, utilizing all of his pitches and not just one. And he went to the knuckle curveball for a strikeout.
How about that play?
And that's why we say Eric Ivar has hurt the Royals, not only offensively, but on the bases and also at shortstop. I mean, he is just laid out for this ball. Looks like a picture postcard when he froze it right there. I mean, it's just amazing how well, when you're healthy, how you really get to see how well a player can play.
Oh, and 1 to Josh Anderson, who had an infield single in the second inning. And the Royals ended up loading the bases against Santana, but Santana got Jacobs to fly out. And now Santana's retired the last 5. In the third inning, he threw only 8 pitches. One ball, 2 strikes. And this is where a pitching coach can really help out. Not just with mechanics, but helping lighten the mood, try and get a pitcher back on track, see things from a different angle. And ever since the visits from Mike Butcher, Santana has been pitching a lot better and a little quicker pace, a little more bounce to his step.
Well, it's such an emotional thing for pitchers when they're on the mound, and sometimes they hear so much about you're not doing this, you got to do this. From a mechanical standpoint, sometimes it's simple as saying, hey, just relax. Go out there, let your abilities take over, trust your pitches, go out and follow the catcher. Just something simple, and they really appreciate that. And
Shallow right, Abreu gets Anderson.
And I think just watching Santana smiling on the bench as Butcher was talking to him made me think that he wasn't talking about mechanics.
Coming up on the next homestand, it's Girls Night Out, benefiting the American Heart Association. Hy-Vee, Macy's, and 38 The Spot are teaming up. The first 10,000 ladies will receive a free Royals shirt from Hy-Vee. You can purchase VIP ticket packages and register to win a makeover at royals.com/Girls Night Out. Two-hit game for David DeJesus. That's got him up to 278. scored in the first inning along with Mitch Meyer, and those are the only 2 runs in the game. David has now hit in 8 straight games. One and one. Two balls, one strike. David was already hitting over 400 in his career against Santana. And then the 2 hits today, so he is 9 out of 19. Two balls, 2 strikes. Three months ago, on June the 7th, David DeJesus was hitting .232. And that's deep enough into the season where it takes a lot of hits to add points to the batting average. David has added, 46 points in the last 3 months. Short throw is handled by Morales. And it's another 3 up, 3 down inning for Santana. So difficult to work on something new in the middle of the season. You don't have much time to practice it. You practice it in the game. But Kyle Davies making a mechanical adjustment, and it's really working well for him.
It's working well, Ryan. He had a little hiccup there early, but got through it, and he just really doing a real good job going back to his last start of just utilizing all of his pitches. He would get in love with a pitch, and then he would just throw it over and over again like his changeup, or it could be a slider, and it's over and over again. So now he's starting to mix it up. I mean, he even brought out the knuckle curve today as a strikeout pitch, which you don't really see much from Kyle. So it's just a good sign that hopefully he's maturing, and maybe he's just starting to figure it out and say, to get through games, I've got to be able to mix it up well, know when to change, when to go to different type pitches.
Had a great September last year and trying to do the same thing this year, but even Kyle has said, I don't just want to be a September pitcher. He wants to pitch well in all of the months.
Well, being a September pitcher doesn't breed a lot of confidence, because that's almost like they say it's hard to judge talent in September and spring training. Now, if you know specifically what you're looking for, you can do it. But in his case, he wants to be established as a consistent starter from the start of the season all the way through to the end of the year.
It's the third time through the order for the Angels. Sean Figgins has walked and grounded out. Kyle has walked 4, and he's given up 3 hits. That's 7 base runners in the first 4 innings. And the Angels have stranded 6. The Royals have executed a double play. Can't say they turned a double play because it was a fly ball to right field, and Mitch Meyer gunning down Kendry Morales at third base. Five walks, and the second time he's walked Figgins. Kyle's pitch count brought to you by James B. Nutter and Company. So he's at 79. And a very close strike to ball ratio, just 42 to 37.
Well, this is not really a good team you want to give free passes to, because you really open yourself up to a lot of things. A stolen base, the hit and run, just the fact that they have so many good hitters in the lineup that you open yourself up to the big inning when you give free passes. And this is what Kyle Davis has been able to do, is that he's been able to get himself in trouble and pitch out of trouble, but you'd like to see him eliminate the walks and make the other opposition put the ball in play.
Now he's going to hear from Brian Pena after ball 1 to Myceris Turris. And the walks eventually will catch up. We saw that on Friday. Remember, the Royals walked 8 batters, and all 8 of those walks coming in innings 6 through 8. And finally, the Angels turned it into 2 runs. Back in the first inning, Figgins walked, and then on a hit and run, his Turris ground ball into left field, put runners at first and third, nobody out. Davies got out of it. It's 2-0. Two and 1, which is a good hit and run count. Will Mike Scioscia do it again? Figgins has stolen 39. That's the 3rd most in the American League. Not running, and his Turris grounds it to Butler on the bag. Did not unload the throw, and the Royals get the double play. So 3-6, and the Royals have turned double plays in the last 2 innings.
And where Billy could have gotten in trouble here, Ryan, is once he tagged the bait, just unloaded the throw right away, but he took a look, and he was able to catch Figgins just standing there waiting to see what Billy's going to do, and they were able to complete that double play. See, Figgins had already started back because he figured that throw's going to go to shortstop, and by the time he got to shortstop, he'd had time to get back to first base.
So 2 outs, nobody on. Bobby Abreu is 0 for 1 with a walk. Well, you figure it's a recipe for disaster when you walk Sean Figgins to open the inning, but Kyle Davies has done that twice, and on both occasions Figgins was out on the bases. 2-1 on Abreu. Two and 2. The only concern for Kyle Davies at this point would be his pitch count, as he's coming up on 90. And Abreu into deep right center field, and gone. Home run number 13, RBI number 90 for Bobby Abreu. And for the first time today, the Angels are on the board.
All about pitch and location. Prania wanted the ball on the outer half. Kyle Davis threw it on the inner half, and Bobby Abreu got a good swing on it and hit it in the right center field bleachers.
Vladimir Guerrero with a shot over Tien and down into the corner. He's going to try for two. Betancourt throws it away, and now Guerrero will head to third. He might need a nap, but he's made it all the way to third base.
Looks like he was having some problems getting around there. But this is a play here. Once he gets past first base, then Billy's got to go out and be in a backup position. Mitch is coming from right field in a backup position, so that's a safety valve for that overthrow at second base.
So it's a double going to third on an error 6. And Torrey Hunter at the plate, 0 for 1 with a walk. So with 2 outs, nobody on, the Abreu home run, and then an absolute bullet off the bat of Guerrero. Now 2 balls, no strikes. And with those last 2 swings, Royals now have Jamie Wright warming up in the bullpen. And it's 3-0 on Torrey Hunter. Now you figure Torrey Hunter has the green light, and Brian Pena was standing up. I thought they might intentionally walk Torrey Hunter, and now down into a crouch. And there's the unintentional intentional walk. They weren't going to give Torrey anything good to hit. 6 walks for Kyle Davies. None of those walks have turned into a run yet. And the first visit to the mound from Bob McClure.
Kyle's really got to be kicking himself a little bit, Ryan. I mean, he knows he's got the stuff to pitch here. He knows he's got the stuff to be successful as a pitcher, but he's just having a hard time bringing it all together. I mean, you see he's got 4 above average pitches. His fastball, his curveball, his changeup, and even the knuckle curveball. And he has a cutter that he doesn't use a lot, but we've seen him be real effective when he's used it. So it just be a matter of just harnessing all these skills and talents and just taking them from game to game, where you can see that you're building a level of success. And this is kind of a struggle for him. I mean, even though the run totals are down, he does a good job there, it seems like, all the time, but he has a struggle. I mean, this is a struggle for him in this game today with 6 walks.
And that's something where the opponent doesn't necessarily beat you. It's almost like you beat yourself. Just by giving them runs.
Right, just trying to be a little too fine. And anytime, especially teams in first place, you walk guys in first place, you're just asking for it at some point. And he's been able to get out of it, but now he's really struggling in this middle inning.
Jumps ahead of Morales, who doubled in the 4th inning, grounded out in the 1st. He had an opportunity to add to his RBI total with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 1st inning, but grounded back to the mound. And now batting with runners at 1st and 3rd. Tying runner at 3rd base. Pretty good pitch. Didn't get the call. It's 1-1. Now Brian Pena telling the defense where he will throw if the Angels try a double steal, which would be pretty unlikely with Vladimir Guerrero at third base. To Callaspo. So the Angels get just the 1 run, but they really pile up Davies' pitch count. Full of soup, salad, sandwiches, and savory breakfast items, Panera Bread, where every detail matters. And the state of Missouri tobacco quit line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Oh, 0-1 on Mitch Meyer. Reached on an error in the first inning and scored, and now he strokes it into right field. That makes him 1 out of 3. He's also made an outstanding throw from right field on a double play. So the Angels getting a run in the top of the 5th, and the Royals answer with the leadoff man on, and Billy Butler coming to the plate. Billy has struck out, walked against Santana. A mile high and back behind home plate. It was June the 26th, 2007 in Anaheim when Billy Butler connected against Ervin Santana for his first major league home run. The month before that, here at Kauffman Stadium, Billy got his first big league hit against the Angels with Bartolo Colon on the mound. That was the very first pitch thrown to Billy Butler. Boy, that pitch was way inside, and he somehow got around on that.
He got the good part of the bat on that ball, too. It's one of those balls hit or be hit.
Santana has struck out 2. He'd prefer a double play. And Billy is grounded into 18 this year. 1-2. Santana in a lot of trouble in the first 2 innings. His error led to 2 runs in the bottom of the first, and the Royals loaded the bases in the second inning, but he retired Mike Jacobs. And now Santana has retired 7 of the last 8. Pitch out and a throw to first. Meyer is safe. Let's go back to July 21st of this year. This is Billy Butler's second career home run against Irvin Santana. Now, I remember that. Don't ask me why. That was in a doubleheader, game 1, and Billy got the green light on 3-0. And you and I talked about how he did not get away from his plan with 3-0. Still was just looking to drive the ball the other way, where a lot of younger hitters, they get the green light, they're going to try and pull the ball, get a little bit extra, and a lot of times that ends up in a ground ball or a pop-up.
And that was one of the first home runs we've seen Billy hit straight away right field. Normally he was in, alley, left center, right center, but he started to wait a little bit longer and drive those balls.
Deep left field, Billy Butler has 3 career hits against Santana, all home runs. So the Royals do answer the Angels. Angels get 1 in the 5th. The Royals get 2 in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, you always like it when you're talking about a guy and talking about a guy that's doing good things, and he turns around and makes you look real good by driving this ball deep left field off the glass of the Royals Hall of Fame. This was a shot.
Strike 1 to Mike Jacobs, who has driven in a run today.
It's one of those balls Billy will probably pace back and forth the entire inning now. He probably won't sit down. He'll go back and say, "Did you see that? Did you see where I hit that ball?" I mean, he just got extreme extension on this slider here, Ryan. And just stay right out over the plate. Eyes get big like they usually do, and he knows right away. Eyes went right to the pitcher after he hit this ball.
That ball hit the Hall of Fame on the fly, 442 feet. Mike Jacobs was trying to hit it 542 feet and goes down swinging. And if Billy continues to swing the bat like that, it might be more than his home run balls that end up in the Royals Hall of Fame.
He absolutely crushed that ball. So he's still moving. He's not going to sit. He's not going to sit this inning.
You're talking as if you're speaking from experience.
Oh yeah.
You may have seen that at AA Wichita.
I've seen that before. Yeah, he's hyped up now. Anybody will listen, he's going to be there.
Callaspo's out. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI today. 2 down. And as Billy tells his teammates about the final T-shirt Tuesday, we'll give you the details. Available to the first 20,000 fans on September the 22nd against the Red Sox. A gray short sleeve shirt saluting the Royals' 40th anniversary, courtesy of our friends at Sprint. One and one on Mark Tien. 0 for 2, couple of ground outs today. One ball, 2 strikes. 2-2. He's still going.
Oh, yeah. When you hit one like that, 440 feet, you're gonna talk about that one for a little while. Sights, did you see that?
He might be saying, Sights, have you ever hit one that far? Well, let me tell you what it feels like. Bob McClure, a former pitcher, will have nothing of this discussion.
He's got the rail all to himself.
Kevin finally gives him the thumbs up. 3-2 to Tien. Under Morales' glove, and he stands there frozen like a statue, wondering how he didn't make that play, and Tien goes to second base. Morales still can't figure out how that ball didn't end up in his glove. Another hustling double for Mark Tien. I take that back. It's an error on Morales.
He's sort of short on that one. He really thought he had it. He can't believe that ball didn't go in his glove. And to Mark Tien's credit, he never quit running. He hustled all the way to second base.
Now the Angels will intentionally walk Brian Pena. Let's find Joel.
Well, guys, not to pile on the conversation about Billy, but I was in the clubhouse this morning, and you know they always have video of the opposing pitcher, just a montage of video of the opposing pitcher up there, and sure enough, I look up and there's Santana facing Butler, and I see Butler in the corner, kind of watching. He goes, "Here it comes." Nope, not that one. Next pitch was up, a fastball, 94 miles an hour, and Butler crushed it, and see the smile on his face. So now he's got a new one to relive.
I tell you what, he has amazing recall. You can ask Billy about at-bats from 2 years ago, and not only will he tell you the pitch that he hit, but he'll tell you about the pitches that led up to that pitch. He'll tell you about the at-bats before that one and how that may have changed his mindset.
I mean, that goes back to what we say about Billy as a hitter. I mean, he knows he can hit. He knows how to hit. And that total recall is probably part of that process of knowing pitchers, know what they're throwing. And that process had to start long before he gets in the pro ball. I mean, he probably was that way in high school. Now, he faced Santana in Double-A, and he probably still remembers. He and Mitch were talking about it a little bit in the clubhouse before the game.
Well, the Royals faced Gio Gonzalez, the rookie lefty for the A's, on this last road trip, and I saw that Billy had a home run against him. And I asked him, and he told me what had happened, what pitch it was, where he hit it, and then all of a sudden he started talking about facing Gio Gonzalez back in high school. So, logging at bats from a long time ago at several levels below the big leagues. This next pitch will be number 30 in the inning for Santana. And he strikes out Betancourt. Royals get two. Mitch Myers singles to begin the inning. And Billy Butler hits one off the Hall of Fame. More than 440 feet from from home plate.
.440 homer. It's giving the Royals an even bigger lead. Here is the home run ball caught by Jason, and we'll give that back to the rightful owner. But that ball, guys, came flying all the way off of the glass right down here. Now, to give you an idea, Albert Pujols hit a home run earlier this summer. That one went right up here, so about the same distance. Pujols is a little bit higher. That ball bounced off the glass over this divider. Jason did the little hurdle over the divider, picked up the ball, has a nice souvenir. What a shot. Boy, it feels about 440 feet back here, guys.
Well, that's the first home run I thought of when Billy hit it, was the one that Albert Pujols hit, although you and I were on the Bud Light party deck, so we had a completely different angle of that on a Sunday afternoon with the Royals and the Cardinals, but there was no doubt as soon as Billy made contact.
Well, you can only dream about hitting balls that far when you're a player. Just everything has to go into that swing, has to be perfect for you to hit a ball that far.
So Jamie Wright takes over. 96 pitches for Kyle Davies in 5 innings. So that's how the walks caught up to him. The Angels only scored 1 run in Kyle's 5 innings, but because of the walks, the pitch count drives him out of the game, and now the Royals need to get 18 outs from the bullpen. Juan Rivera is 0 for 2 and just 1 for 14 in the series. Good pitch. Betancourt throws out Rivera. 1 down. That was a routine play for Betancourt, a more difficult play back in the 2nd inning. Here's our Coors Light freeze cam going out into shallow left field to throw out Juan Rivera. Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Now the Royals trying to figure out a way to retire Eric Ibar. In fact, if they had their way, they would just assume that Ibar would retire.
One day.
Infield single and a walk. He's hitting about .560 against the Royals this year. Now 3 balls, no strikes. Kyle Davies' ERA 3 starts ago against the Seattle Mariners was over 6. And now with a win against Seattle, a win against Oakland, and hopefully a win today against 3 American League West teams, his ERA is now down around 5.4, 5.54 to be exact. So a big drop for him as he continues to improve since incorporating a mechanical change to his pitching motion. The Royals would just want, at this point now, it would just be another inning or 2.
Well, they definitely needed, 6, possibly 7 innings. Anytime you can limit the number of outs the bullpen has to get, the better chance you are to get through the ball game without any real problems.
Left field, DeJesus is there. Eric Ibar is out. Let me say it again. Eric Ibar is out. So 2 down, and now Jamie Wright will face the catcher Jeff Mathis, who is 0 for 2 against Davies. Something else that Kyle Davies achieved today by giving up just 1 run in 5 innings was a good start here at Kauffman Stadium. His ERA at home prior to today was over 9. On the road, it was outstanding, 2.92. Just missed with the breaking ball. Shattered bat. Wright can't handle it, but Betancourt with a very athletic throw to get Jeff Mathis and help Wright with a 1-2-3 inning.
This is our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Bill Wilson from Overland Park, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Bill will win $1,000. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Bill will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
And it'll be Josh Anderson, David DeJesus, and Mitch Meyer. This is pitch number 100 from Urban Santana. 30 of those pitches coming in the 5th inning when the Royals scored 2 on the Billy Butler home run. Anderson into center field for his 2nd hit, so a good start. Great speed at first with nobody out. Santana got off to a real slow start today, committed a big error in the 1st inning, and then a mental error when he failed to cover first on what could have been a ground ball double play. Gave up 2 in the 1st. Royals loaded the bases in the 2nd, did not score. And then Santana appeared to pull it together in the 3rd and 4th innings. He had retired 7 in a row, but then the Royals got a single from Mitch Meyer and a home run from Butler in the 5th. And Jesus trying at the very minimum to get Anderson to second, if not reach himself with a bunt single. Darren Oliver just standing on the mound out in left field, so that would indicate that he is warmed up and ready to come in. David today 2 singles. He has scored a run. Anderson has stolen 17 bases, thrown out 4 times. Almost hit him. David looking down at third base coach Dave Owen to see if there's a play with Anderson at first and nobody out. Anderson started and stopped, and David high in the air to the right side. Morales runs out of room. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Turned out to be a very nice day. The last 2 days have been very similar. A lot of fog in the morning, giving way to overcast, and the sun burning up those clouds, and a lot of blue sky overhead. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s.
I think we could take this 12 months of the year.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is what the Angels have 12 months out of the year.
This is outstanding here.
The unofficial end to summer.
Sad, sad.
David thought he made contact, still thinks he made contact, and heads back to the dugout.
Let me take a look at it here, Ryan. So slider down. That's a little hard to tell from that angle.
Well, even if he did, Mathis caught it.
Yeah, it didn't bounce. So.
Five strikeouts for Santana. And now Mitch Meyer, who's had a good day. He scored twice, and he's thrown a runner out at third base. Angels pitch out. Still expecting at some point for Anderson to try and steal second. Hit hard to center field. The wind blowing towards left, and Hunter using his hand to block the sun, and he had a good angle with his chest facing the right field foul pole. Makes a very difficult catch. And you can read his lips. He's going, man, and he's holding his heart.
Well, if you're an outfielder and you want a clinic on how to play the sun, that's how you do it. When you go into your right, you can use your glove to try to block the sun. When you go to your left, you got to use that bare hand and catch the ball down low. And that's how it's taught. And that was textbook. I can see where the right hand is. Now watch where the glove hand goes. It goes down lower. That's perfect.
One strike on Billy Butler. Billy with a long home run to left field in the 5th inning, and Joel showed us where it hit up along the Royals Hall of Fame, off the glass of the Hall of Fame, 440 feet from home plate. So Billy is 3 out of 14 against Irvin Santana, and all 3 hits are home runs, including his first major league home run against Santana in 2007. Second time this year that a right-hand batter has reached the Royals Hall of Fame. Albert Pujols did it back in June with a home run off of Gil Mesh. One and two.
This is Billy from the 5th inning, picked on the slider, Ryan. I mean, you know when you got that. I mean, you just look everything about him said, I got all of that ball. From the time he hit it, the way he flipped his bat, and when he got in the dugout, he had 3 outs to really kind of drive it home to the guys. Hey, did you see that?
Anderson runs, the pitch is inside, and Anderson swipes his 18th base.
That's what you like to see with Anderson, Ryan, leading off the inning with a base hit. You like to see him go a little bit earlier than waiting for 2 outs. You want to see him, maybe that first batter, David DeJesus, try to get down to second base, doing that at bat.
Into right field. Anderson coming around third, and Abreu has it go right through him. So Billy is driven in 3. The Royals take a 5-1 lead. Down to second base on the air. So Billy with his 71st RBI of the year, and that effectively drives Irvin Santana out of the game.
He really jumped on this fastball. He hits this ball hard. Line drive into right field. And Abreu just didn't get the glove on it. He tried to catch it with 2 hands, what outfielders don't normally do, but that ball got between his leg and his glove. And Billy was able to motor into second base.
Veteran Darren Oliver coming on. he's out in the bottom of the 6th inning and down by 4 runs. Royals with 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. Billy Butler has driven in 3 runs in the last 2 innings, and now it's Darren Oliver to pitch to Mike Jacobs. Darren was born here in Kansas City, grew up in California, but he was born here because his father, Bob Oliver, was one of the original Royals, and Darren was born while Bob was playing here in KC.
I talked to Darren the first game of the series here, and he said Dad still talks about the Royals all the time, but he also said he thanks him every day for making him a left-hander.
Darren has always had a very good arm. He's had some arm troubles, but he was a pitcher in the Texas Rangers organization that they were just waiting on to turn into one of the premier lefties in the league, and that didn't happen, but now he's made a very nice career for himself pitching out of the bullpen. He is also, and this might come from his father, he's a very good hitting pitcher, and when he pitched for the Cardinals, he was one of the guys in long games that Tony La Russa would use as a pinch hitter. Two balls, 2 strikes. Jacobs driving in a run back in the 1st inning, his 50th of the year. Way out of the strike zone, and that ends the inning. Royals add a run. Butler drives in his 3rd of the day. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. 5-1 Royals, and Jamie Wright's 2nd inning. And a strike to Sean Figgins. Figgins has walked twice, still without a hit in the series. He's 0 for 13. And it's no balls, 2 strikes. He has scored 3 runs. He's over a little longer stretch, 0 for his last 14. Royals needing to get 12 outs from the bullpen. And the bullpens have really been the story in this season series. The Royals are 0-9 against the Angels, and if you want to look for one category that separates the two teams, it's the bullpen. The Angels bullpen, 27 innings, no earned runs. The Royals bullpen, 28 innings, 17 earned runs.
I don't know. Can you really put an unbelievable behind that? I mean, that's what's hard to imagine. The Royals haven't scored any runs, any earned runs against their bullpen.
And another number we've pointed to a few times during this series, from the 7th inning on, the Angels have outscored the Royals 23-0. So it's almost like the Angels have been laying in the weeds and just kind of holding back, and then an ambush on the bullpen once you get to the 7th inning or later.
But when you look at those numbers, it's definitely an ambush when they get back there. I mean, they get the starter out of the game. It's like, let's get the start out of the game and get to the bullpen. And the bullpen really had that one stretch where, you know, the 8th inning they wish was taken off the scoreboard.
Well, you can see the Angels are very steady throughout the game. That's a perfect illustration of what we were talking about earlier. Innings 1 through 6, the Angels are hitting .287. From that point on, they're about the same. The Royals hitting .265 innings 1 through 6, but from inning 7 on, down to .234. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Figgins. That gets back to the conversation we had earlier about how much energy are you saving for the later innings.
That's true, and I know there's some pinch hitting opportunities in there also, but you know, to be totally dominated in those innings, that's something that maybe the Royals should look at pretty closely.
Figgins having a long at bat. Twice earlier today, he's reached with a walk. And in both of those innings, he was out on the bases. Billy Butler throwing him out at home plate on a ground ball in the 1st inning, and then he was erased on a double play in the 5th. Into right center field. Meyer needs to cut this off, and he does. That holds Figgins to a single. So the 3rd time today, Figgins has led off the inning and is reached.
This is a breaking ball from right, and Figgins did a real good job of staying with this ball and driving it in the right field, but Meyer did a great job taking a good angle back to this ball, cutting it off, and holding Figgins to a single. I mean, that had double written all over it when he first hit it.
A little bit low to Myceris Turris. 1 for 3 with a single back in the 1st inning. Angels getting just 1 run against Kyle Davies, and Kyle pitched out of a mess back in the 1st. The Angels had 1st and 3rd, nobody out, and failed to score. 1-1 on his Turris. Back to right. This time he gets the throw to second base. Double play. Boy, that'll take you back to May the 10th when the Royals were ahead late in the game against the Angels. Ground ball back to Jamie Wright. He threw it into center field, and the Royals' season hasn't been the same.
Well, what he does, he waits. You know, he waits for a Betancourt to get there, then he throws right to the base. He didn't try to hit him on the run, and that's a difficult thing for the pitchers to do. So he just really showed a lot of poise there and not want to get rid of the ball too quick.
So the third double play for the Royals today, and the second time they've gotten a double play from his Turris. That means Bobby Abreu bats with nobody on base. Abreu homered his last time up. That was in the 5th inning against Kyle Davies, and the only run that Kyle allowed in 5. Just a little low. The home run for Abreu was his 13th. That gave him 90 RBIs, and he's working on his 6th consecutive season with at least 100 RBIs. Two and two. Jamie Wright pitching against the Angels back on May the 10th. The Royals had a 3-1 lead in the 7th inning. And came this close to getting out of the inning. This would have ended the inning. Instead, it extended the inning. And the Angels scored 3 and ended up winning the game. In the 7th inning today, he makes a perfect throw to second base. Anderson can't run it down. He got too close to the wall. So Meyer has to come over from right, and Abreu has a 2-out double.
It's really amazing how we haven't made that adjustment to Bobby Abreu. We want to play him on the left field side of second base, but the pitchers keep pitching him inside and opening up that big gap in right center field, and he's taking advantage of it.
And his home run was pretty much to the same spot in right center field. But the Royals are convinced that he's going to hit the ball to left field or left center. But you look at the way he has sprayed the ball around. 60 hits to center field, but he has, 13 more hits to right. So at least by this statistic, it really kind of works against the Royals playing him the other way.
And he's just not hitting singles. I mean, he's driving the ball into that alley, and the Royal outfield is having to run a long way. And that's just that's an indication of whether they're either not playing him in the right spot, starting in center field, or they're not hitting their spots with the pitches.
Vladimir Guerrero 1 for 3 with a double. Breaking ball for strike 1. Guerrero had been just 1 for 19 when he doubled on the first pitch throw to him by Davies in the 5th. One and one.
He's one of the few hitters still in the game today that don't use batting gloves. I mean, he just goes up there and puts a pine tar on and says, let's go.
And he takes the equivalent of a pine tar rag with him to the plate, the front of his batting helmet. And when Doug Minkiewicz was with the Royals, he was one of the players that didn't use batting gloves, and he had a rather dirty batting helmet. 2 balls, 1 strike. I don't remember if it was earlier this year or last year, but Guerrero was out, and on his way back to the dugout, he smashed his helmet. So when he came up his next time, he had a brand new helmet on it with none of the pine tar, so he had to start the process all over again.
I think this is one of he's taking more pitches in this at bat than I've seen him in quite some time.
And takes a walk, a rare walk. So with 2 on, 2 out, Trey Hillman will bring on Kyle Farnsworth to face Torrey Hunter. Royals by 4 in the top of the 7th inning. Trying to get the final out of the 7th inning. 20,000 fans will take home the George Brett Replica Hall of Fame figurine on Saturday, September the 26th with the Minnesota Twins here. That's a 6:10 game. The gates will open at 4 o'clock. So come on out, get some batting practice, get your George Brett figurine, and enjoy the game. After today, only 10 home games remain for the Royals and only 25 games total. So Kyle Farnsworth with runners at first and second and 2 down, facing Torrey Hunter. Misses outside with the slider at 91 miles an hour. Hunter 0 for 1 today. He's walked twice. And against Farnsworth, he's just 2 for 11. And that crossed up Pena. That thing had all kinds of movement on it.
Wow. Normally, Farnsworth's fastball is straight. I mean, this one just made a right turn on Brian Pena in a hurry.
Brian was ready to chase that thing to the backstop when he realized it was in his glove. Coming back with a slider on 2-0. He inherits 2 runners in this 7th inning. Abreu doubled with 2 outs against Jamie Wright, and then a walk to Vladimir Guerrero. Up the middle into center field. It's a 5-2 game. Torrey Hunter drives in his 3rd of this series.
That's that 2-seamer. Looks like he's throwing a 2-seamer, Ryan. It runs back right back on the middle of the plate. It's supposed to have been on the outer half, and Hunter kept the ball up the middle for a base hit.
And now the tying run is at the plate. Kendry Morales, and he hits a smash past Tian. So Guerrero scores. Hunter goes first to third. It's a long single for Morales after a good play by DeJesus to get it back quickly. And now it's 5-3. So both inherited runners coming home to score. against Farnsworth. Both charged to Jamie Wright.
A good running fastball. Morales hit the ball almost like he was hitting that way on purpose. Like he was hitting the pole and the ball went to the left, but right inside the bag at third base.
Here's pitching coach Bob McClure. And behind Farnsworth, Carlos Rosa, who was called up 2 days ago along with Victor Marte and Dusty Hughes. Marte and Hughes made their debuts, major league debuts yesterday. Rosa pitched briefly with the Royals last year. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. So the Royals are trying to beat the Angels for the first time this year. They're 0-9, and the Angels are not going to go down easy. A 4-run lead has turned into a 2-run lead, and here we are again with the Angels scoring runs in the 7th inning or later. A strike to Juan Rivera, who has only faced Farnsworth twice before today. And this is the out that Farnsworth needs to get. Rivera 0 for 3 today, and 0 for his last 12. Driven to left field, back goes to Jesus, and runs it down at the track. Well, Farnsworth barely gets out of the 7th inning. Let's go around the league, brought to you by Panera Bread, where the Yankees have beaten Tampa Bay 4-1. That's game 1 of a doubleheader. Minnesota defeating Toronto. Twins have fallen back to 7 behind Detroit in the Central. Alberto Callaspo after the first pitch, and that is just inside the line. A bloop single for Callaspo, his second hit of the game. Back to the scores, Chicago, and they have also fallen back in the Central, 8 games back, but they win. Texas and Cleveland later tonight. That's what's going on around the American League. Now we're getting to the end of the Royals minor league schedule. And Joel, what's going on there?
Well, Northwest Arkansas finishing up their season tonight, but they clinched their 2nd straight playoff berth last night. Congratulations to Brian Polberg. He wasn't around for the end, got ejected in the 4th inning, but hey, they win the second half title, and they'll begin a playoff series with the Springfield Cardinals on Wednesday. As for Omaha, as Alberto Callaspo goes into second base there with a stolen base, Omaha finished up their season this afternoon, a 3-2 loss, and a couple guys maybe people have their eye on. Alex Gordon went 1 for 3 on the day, scored a run. He finishes at 313. Might see him back up here maybe tomorrow. Keila Ka'aihui, 1 for 4, finished the season with a 252 average. And Chris Disco Hayes, who has been written about and talked a little bit, pitched today, finished 1-6 for them, and had his 7th blown save of the season for Omaha today, guys.
That ball hit the bag. Nope, they're going to say it hit Tien. Tien disagreeing with the first base umpire, Todd Tishner. So is Rusty Kuntz. And Trey Hillman is going to ask for some help from another umpire. Yep, looked like it just right next to the 4. They have just rolled up the jersey, and Tien may not have felt it because it may have hit the jersey and not him.
Right, yeah, just right under the armpit. Just probably enough to keep the ball fair also.
So that'll be a 3 unassisted put out because Morales was the closest fielder. Well, Tien was trying to get a ground ball over to the right side, and that thing stayed right on the line. It tried to kick foul a few times and then rolled all the way to the bag. Darren Oliver getting the final out of the 6th inning in relief of Irvin Santana. 1-1 on Brian Pena, 0 for 2. He's been intentionally walked. One ball, 2 strikes.
You can see where Brian right-handed gets a little bit longer in his swing than he does left-handed, especially the breaking ball coming down and in. He's not quite as closed as he normally is right-handed. Usually that left foot is a little bit closer to the plate.
And Brian will change that stance depending on what he's trying to do against that pitcher. And he made me take a blood oath that he wouldn't reveal what he's trying to do when he changes his stance.
They may take a wild guess on what he's doing here when the lefties are throwing the ball down to that back leg. He's really having a hard time clearing his hips in that other stance, and he's trying to be able to hit that ball as it's coming down and in and catch it out over the plate a little bit. Now, he didn't tell me anything, so you got the secret. I'm just guessing.
2-2. Royals have not scored a single run all year against the Angels in the 7th inning or later. The Angels have scored 25 runs from the 7th inning on. Struck him out. Second strikeout for Oliver. 2 down. Callaspo still at second base. The Kansas City Royals, the state of Missouri, and Fox Sports Kansas City have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. So Yuniesky Betancourt 0 for 3. Angels have an open base and a left-hand batter coming up in Josh Anderson. However, Betancourt is 0 for 5 against Darren Oliver. Inside for ball one. Betancourt charged with an error on a throw, on a relay throw, but otherwise has had a good game on defense today. And he has also lost a hit on a good play by the Angels shortstop, Eric Ibar, who went diving up the middle and took a single, perhaps a double, away from Yunieski. Two and one. Don't think that's the pitch that Kevin Seitzer wants him swinging at with the count 2-0.
Well, I don't think so. I think it takes a little bit more discipline in that situation. And Kevin probably got a puzzled look on his face after watching that swing. I'm sure they talk about it all the time. This is when you get your pitch, something you can handle, not the pitcher's pitch.
3-1. You think Billy's still talking about that home run?
I think Billy likes to talk. I mean, he just likes to. He's always talking about baseball, though. I mean, he just likes to keep the conversation going throughout the game. And I think he probably sits next to Kevin just to kind of listen to some of the things he's talking about. Like with Betancourt, I mean, he's explaining, like the pitch before. Let's think about this next pitch. That's one of his. I don't want to use the word project, but he's one of those guys that Kevin has really taken on and say, I can make this guy better. I know there's something in there. I'm going to try to get it out.
And he lays out the pitch in the dirt, and that allows Callaspo to move up to third. So runners at the corners. Josh Anderson has been called back to the dugout. And it'll be Willie Bloomquist. And the Angels have a move ready if they want it out in the bullpen. Jose Arredondo, who appeared in the game yesterday, could come on to face Bloomquist. No, Bloomquist has been announced into the game. Arredondo standing and waiting in the bullpen, and Mike Scioscia is going to leave Darren Oliver in there. Tied him up, and a foul ball. Willie didn't come out of the box as if that thing hit his foot, or he was just convinced that ball was going to roll foul.
I just say never take anything for granted. Yeah, if it hits your foot or if it hits close to your foot, you got to jump up and kind of give it away. That ball's really boring in on him.
Well, it was close to the foot, but there was no call by Jerry Crawford, the home plate umpire. Didn't get the corner. That breaking ball started way outside and trying to sweep over the outside edge of the plate. You could see how a right-hand batter would give up on that pitch very early.
And then Oliver does a real good job of getting in on right-handers. I mean, he's got that hard breaking ball, and look, he got some kind of a cutter that he gets in underneath their swing also.
Grounded, backhanded by Figgins. Again, he's done that all year against the Royals. The inning is over. Royals leave 2 on base. They have stranded 10 today. Mike Jacobs and Alberto Callaspo singling to right field, driving into Jesus and Meyer. Billy Butler hit a 440-foot home run off the Royals Hall of Fame in the 5th. And the Royals got a 5th run in the 6th on Butler's 3rd RBI today. And the Angels getting 2 runs in the 7th to make it 5-3. So to the 8th, and Willie Bloomquist, who batted for Josh Anderson, stays in the game. He goes to right, and Mitch Meyer moves from right field to center. And the 4th Royals pitcher today is Roman Colon. So 5 innings for Kyle Davies. Gave up 1 run, 5 hits. He walked 6, and his pitch count drove him out of the game. So the Royals needing 12 outs from the bullpen. They've gotten 6 so far, but they've allowed 2 runs. Jamie Wright charged with a couple of runs in the 7th inning, but those runs scored after he left on base hits against Kyle Farnsworth. 0-2 on Ibar. An infield single, a walk, and a flyout for Ibar, who will be followed by Jeff Mathis and then Sean Figgins. Reaching out, and a nice pick at third by Tien, and then a low throw, and he needed help from Billy Butler. So Ibar is out, and the Royals haven't been able to say that very often this year. Today's You Call It presented by Sprint, and with the Royals 0-9 against the Angels, who individually has hurt the Royals the most? 56% going with Torrey Hunter, followed by Eric Ibar at 34%. Frank had picked Ibar, I picked Figgins.
I think a lot of the fans are maybe looking at history with Torrey Hunter, but just for this season, I think that either one of those picks would have been right on.
Gary Matthews Jr. will hit for Jeff Mathis. Oh, 0-1 from Roman Colon. When Gary Matthews Jr. signed with the Angels before the 2007 season, that was his 9th organization. And when that happens, sometimes the question comes up, well, is he a bad guy? But he's not. He's a good guy, and every team that has had him has enjoyed having him. He comes from big league blood. His father played for a long time in the big leagues. But 1 year after Gary Matthews Jr. got his contract from the Angels, all of a sudden Torrey Hunter was available. And that was a deal the Angels figured they couldn't pass up. Billy deep on the right side to the bag, 2 down in the 8th inning. Well, if you're a dog lover, get ready for the first annual Bark at the K. That's Sunday, September the 27th. Special $25 ticket packages include a human ticket, a canine ticket, and a Royals dog bowl. Proceeds benefit the local pet adoption groups, 3 different groups. Visit royals.com/bark for ticket packages and to order yours today.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen those dog days in the minor leagues. I see those all the time in Wichita. They have one every year. But major leagues, first time. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
1-1 on Sean Figgins. Got his first hit of this series in the 7th inning. He had been 0 for 13. Two and 1. Now I'm guessing there's going to be a cleanup crew on that day.
You might have to bring your own baggie.
Yep. I imagine the Royals might double up on some of the available trash cans.
I wonder if that would be a certain section. I wonder if that would be for the entire park and sit anywhere.
There you go. Although that's in the dugout. Figgins into right. Bloomquist, long run, diving, knocking it down. And Figgins is into second base. So that's a gamble there, making sure you at least get the glove on it when you dive. If that ball skips by him with Figgins' speed, he might go all the way around the bases.
Well, you're right, Ryan. You really have to be careful. And this is what Willie's got to be 100% sure that they can keep this ball in front of him. But normally you just want to let it bounce and just try to keep the game right there. But it really had enough spin on it. It may not have gone down in the corner, but he did a good job getting his glove on it and keeping it right there. That's one thing about Woolley. You know, like I say, every time I see him in the outfield, he's going to end up diving for something before he's out off the field.
And as Turris pops it up, Betancourt is out. Makes the catch. Angels scoreless in the 8th. Escape, roomy edge, or hot selling fusion at Thoroughbred Ford. Royals fans sing along with Garth Brooks. For the Royals come up in the bottom of the 8th inning. And in their final game against the Angels this year, the Royals trying to beat the Angels for the first time. Jose Arredondo replaces Darren Oliver, who went 1 1/3, did not allow a run. Royals scored all 5 of their runs off of Irvin Santana. 1 of the runs unearned. And a new catcher, Mike Napoli, as Gary Matthews Jr. pinch hit for Matthews, or Matthews for Mathis in the top of the 8th. David 2 out of 4, scored a run back in the first inning. David has hit in 8 straight. And another good game on defense for David DeJesus, making this play in what could have been a very scary 7th inning.
Well, Rivera really got on top of this ball and really drove it. And this is where David, I think, has improved right here, Ryan, is going back on balls. And that's the toughest thing for outfielders. Ball right at you, back over your head, being able to keep your balance and make that play. I think he's really improved in that area.
Hit it hard and too hard as Hunter comes up. 1 down in the 8th. Arredondo pitched the bottom of the ninth yesterday. Got the Royals in order. The Angels won 7-2 and improved to 9-0 against the Royals this year. One strike on Mitch Meyer, 1 hit, 2 runs scored today, and has an outfield assist. His 11th of the year. Oh, and 2. Joaquim Soria getting ready for the top of the ninth inning. And for the Angels, it'll be Abreu, Guerrero, and Hunter. "11 outfield assists for Meyer, ties him with David DeJesus for the third most in the American League. Nick Markakis of the Orioles has 12, and Jason Bay of the Red Sox has 14. Morales backhands this one and gets it to Arredondo. Earlier in the game, on a similar ground ball from Mark Teahan, Morales did not make the play and was charged with an error. Completely different game for the Angels on defense today as opposed to yesterday. Yesterday, the Angels committed 1 error. It did not result in a run. They turned 4 double plays. Today, the Angels have failed turning a couple of double plays, and they've committed 3 errors. And now Billy Butler. Billy with a 2-run home run in the 5th inning, one of the longest home runs this year, off the glass of the Royals Hall of Fame in left field. And he singled in a run in the 6th inning, so Billy has driven in 3. 2-0. And that ball's drilled to deep left. Rivera's back again. 2 home runs for Butler. So Billy Butler has driven in 4. That's his 2nd home run.
Well, he picked on a fastball here, Ryan, and drove it to left center field. That you don't see that a lot. Normally he pulls breaking balls, but I tell you what, the ball's really jumping off his bat today, and I tell you what, he's really coming into his own as a hitter.
That's Billy's 2nd 2-home run game this year. He had one against Toronto. So make it 17 home runs, 72 RBIs. One and 2 on Mike Jacobs. Jacobs has driven in a run. That was back in the 1st inning.
Do you get any happier than Billy Butler?
No. Well, he certainly experiences the peaks and valleys. I mean, he's as happy as anyone on a day like today, but then on days where he's 0 for 4, and he's gotten better at this, you can really see it all over his face and his body language when he goes a game without a hit.
Well, you can honestly say when he's not performing, then he's not going to feel good about it. He's not going to be one of those guys that, act like it's all roses. He knows what he brings to the table, and he knows how to feel about it. And I think that what we're watching now is just an outstanding hitter continuing to hit. There's a fastball, that's what Mathis wanted.
So it's a 3-run lead, and now Soria for the save. It's Boulevard Royals Live, brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. And there's Paul Splittorff getting ready for the post-game show. Hope to have an interview from the field with Joel. And Joakim Soria on target to Bobby Abreu. Joakim had a 2-out save on Tuesday night in Oakland. And as Trey Hillman put it, that took a lot out of him, so he hasn't pitched since. It'll be Abreu, Guerrero, and Hunter. It's 0-2. Abreu's had a good game. A home run for Abreu in the 5th inning and a double in the 7th. A 2-inning save on Tuesday. I said a 2-out save. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As a team, the Royals have saved 24, but they've blown 20. And they've really had trouble in the later innings against the Angels. No trouble here. Abreu is down. A good start for Soria.
So it's good to come out of the pen and get that first guy. And Abreu's been swinging the bat well today. And look at that ball go down. That's like a changeup that he's starting to throw a little bit more of.
It's a pitch that a few Royals have started to throw, influenced by Ramon Ramirez when he was with the Royals last year. That power changeup. Brian Bannister has started throwing it. Soria, who already has about 3 or 4 above average pitches. Guerrero 1 for 3 with a run scored. 2-0. Guerrero's only faced Soria once and he walked. (3-0). A suddenly patient and selective Vladimir Guerrero.
More than I've ever seen.
Walked his last time and came around to score. And a 4-pitch walk. That's 8 walks for the Royals today, and that's the second time in this series they've had 8 walks in a game. But of those 8 walks, only 1 has scored. Kyle Davies had 6 and 5 otherwise very good innings, giving up only 1 run. Jamie Wright walked 1 in his inning and 2/3. Hunter noticing that Mark Teahan is very deep on the left side, thinking about laying one down, trying to get the tying run to the plate. Hunter today, 2 walks, a single, and an RBI. Oh, 2. Questioning Jerry Crawford about that pitch. He thought it was outside.
That what makes Sawyer kind of special as a closer, Ryan. A lot of closers come out. They always know they've got one pitch that you know you're going to see that they want to get you out with. But Rivera's got the cutter. Joe Nathan's got the hard fastball and the slider. Well, Joaquin's got like 4 pitches, so you really can't center on any pitch, and he can throw strikes with all those. Here, just a pinpoint command with his fastball in the outside corner.
So the Royals 1 out away from their first win against the Angels. Kendry Morales, 2 hits and an RBI, his only RBI in the series. The Royals give Vladimir Guerrero second base. So no stolen base, defensive indifference, which is another way of saying defensive, we don't care. Out of play, it's no balls, 2 strikes. Well, it's fitting that in the only game this year that the Royals score a run against the Angels after the 7th inning, that they beat the Angels, because it's been the Angels scoring all the runs in the later innings. And even with the run today, Billy Butler's second home run of the game in the 8th, the Angels have outscored the Royals 25-1 from the 7th inning on. Morales strikes out on the slow curve. So the Royals avoid the series sweep and the season series sweep as Joakim Soria saves his 22nd.